Okay, so a brand new weapon has come to Minecraft, and I've got some thoughts on why it maybe shouldn't exist. Now, in case you don't know, the spear is a jousting weapon that has two attacks. A jab attack when you left click, and a joust attack when you hold right click. The unique properties of the spear over other weapons is that it has a greater reach than anything else. And based on how fast you're traveling when you make contact with an enemy, your damage increases, similar to the mace when falling from greater heights. The spear has one enchantment so far to buff its left click jab attack, called lunge, and the higher the enchantment level, the more power and damage you produce. Now, I am a big fan of how Mojang are trying to add new combat mechanics and trying to make combat a bit more interesting, and I'm interested to see how they continue to implement these differences in reach between weapons later into the game. And I have already seen people in the community finding awesome ways to use the mechanics of the spear in, parkour and movement and things like that. However, Mojang have a habit of adding things to the game that could have been serviced by pre-existing features. And I think the spear is one of these items. A good and popular example of what I mean by this is the glow ink sack. It's used to make signs and item frames glow. But I think many people agree that glowstone, which has been in the game over a decade longer, should have been given this functionality, as its only purpose currently is to craft glowstone and make potions. Now let's talk about the trident, which in its current form offers a unique gimmick to combat and gameplay within the game. However, in my opinion, all of the new functionality of the spear could have been applied to the trident, to make it a truly viable weapon in combat and even more useful in day-to-day gameplay. As it stands now, the trident has 2 to 3 enchantments that affect its right-click functionality, being channeling, riptide, and loyalty. But its left click is exactly the same as a diamond sword. Doesn't it make sense that you would be able to joust with a trident in the same way that you could with a spear? After all, a trident is just a 3-headed spear. Personally, I think the functionality of the spear could easily be transferred over to the trident. Firstly, the jab attack can remain exactly the same, left click to produce a jab attack, and have it boost you forward if you have the lunge enchantment. And second, instead of having to right click hold to create the joust attack, you could press and hold left click to achieve the same thing. Now, the way I see this working is when you press and hold left click, you would first stab attack, and then as you keep holding it would stab into the hold, which I don't think would be a problem at all. So now this way the trident would have some really cool functionality in the left click, and then all its old functionality using the right click, depending on which enchantments you have. And to me this just makes sense to have the trident serve the purpose of a trident and a spear. Spears are typically thrown as well as used defensively, and like I said, a trident is essentially just a 3-pronged spear. And lastly, it would go along with the more ocean-themed additions to the update like the Nautilus. And especially the Nautilus jockey, which holds a trident. It can throw it and also jab at you. I feel like that would make add a whole lot of extra layers of complexity and challenge to the game. Alright, but with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what your thoughts on the new weapon and all the new features of the new update are. But yeah, that is going to be all for me today. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters!